A grizzly bear can crush a bowling ball in its jaws. It can flip a boulder looking for a snack and outrun a horse. And the moment it catches your scent on the wind, it does the one thing you would never expect. It turns around and leaves. A lion, 400 pounds of muscle built to take down a buffalo, abandons its fresh catch and slips into the grass the second it hears your voice. By every measure that should matter, you are slow, soft, clawless, and easy prey. So why does the most dangerous animal in the forest treat you like the scariest thing in it? Here is the part that should mess with your head. This fear is not new. It did not start with guns or fences or the first rifle. It started so long ago that it is now baked into the animal itself, passed down like eye color. And by the end, you will understand why a creature that could end you in seconds would rather sprint from the sound of your voice. To get there, stop thinking of fear as a feeling and start seeing it as a calculation that has been running for a very, very long time. Start with the bear, because the bear makes the case best. A grizzly has almost no natural enemies. Nothing in its world hunts it. It should be fearless. And mostly it is, until a human enters the picture. Researchers tested this directly. They played recordings near wild bears and cougars, sometimes dogs barking, sometimes people simply talking. The animals ignored the dogs. The human voices sent them running, abandoning their food, fleeing faster than for any other sound. The voice of a person describing their weekend cleared the area better than any predator could. So, the bear is not reacting to your strength, it is reacting to your reputation. And what did we do to earn a reputation that outweighs claws and 400 pounds of muscle? And that reputation took a very long time to earn. Go back to your ancestors. Not fast, no claws, not impressive one-on-one. What they had was patience. They were persistence hunters. They could not sprint down a deer, so they just followed it through the heat of the day, hour after hour, never stopping, until it overheated and dropped. Now imagine you are the prey. Picture being the lion in that story. Something weak and slow spots you at dawn, is still coming at noon, still coming at dusk, calm the whole time. There is no escape from that. It does not tire. It does not quit. But how does a single scary ancestor turn into a whole species that flinches at your shape? Here is the cruel twist. They never learned it one mistake at a time. They learned it as a species. The wolf that felt uneasy at the human silhouette and left, lived. The bold one that crept closer to investigate did not get to pass on its boldness. Repeat that across thousands of generations. What do you end up with? Fear of the upright shape stops being a choice and becomes part of the wiring. The cautious animals are the only ones who got to have descendants. Every predator alive today is the great-grandchild of the ones who ran. But fear of our strength is only half of it. Now bring in the wolf, which adds the next layer. It is not just that we are dangerous, it is that we make no sense. Most predators are readable, and that is the whole problem with us. A crocodile waits by the water. A hawk works the open field. A wolf hunts at dawn and dusk. Prey survive by learning these patterns, by knowing where the danger lives and when it sleeps. A deer that knows the wolf's schedule plans its life around the gaps. The wolf is terrifying, but the wolf is solvable. And that is what makes you a nightmare to them. You are not solvable. We hunt at noon and at midnight, alone and in groups of 40. We use traps, fire, arrows, boats, and vehicles. We chase animals we eat and animals we never touch. We turn up in the deep forest, on the open water, high on the ridge, no warning. To the animal mind running its threat software, there is no model that predicts us. We are the one input it cannot resolve. And when a brain built to spot patterns meets a thing with no pattern, it does the only safe thing it can. It panics and leaves. And do you know the strangest part of how an animal sees you? This even has a name in animal behavior: neophobia, the fear of the unfamiliar. In the wild, the unfamiliar is the thing most likely to end you, so caution is just good math, and we trip that wire harder than anything alive. We carry fire and metal, we wear materials that never existed in nature, and even our smell is wrong. A chemical cloud of soap, food, smoke, and synthetic everything that matches nothing in the animal's memory. To a wolf downwind of you, you are not a meal. You are a question it cannot answer, and it learned the hard way not to walk toward those. And that smell deserves its own moment, because it is stranger than you think. In wildlife management, researchers use predator scent to scare animals off roads and crops. Lion dung, tiger urine. When they tested human scent against it, our smell worked about as well as a large predator's. A cloth that simply smelled like a person kept wild animals away roughly as well as one that smelled like a mountain lion. You, just standing there breathing, register to the wilderness as a top predator. Some of you knew this and made it a personality. That is allowed. So if every predator is wired to fear us, why does the bear stroll through the suburb at midnight? Every rule has its exceptions, and this is where it gets interesting. Black bears now raid trash cans in mountain towns. Coyotes trot down city sidewalks at night. In some places, leopards slip through the edges of huge cities and hunt the stray dogs there. These predators are not braver than their wild cousins. They just ran the numbers differently. When a hunter is exposed to people over and over with nothing bad happening, the fear quietly switches off. The brain decides it is wasteful to panic at a thing that keeps showing up and never strikes back. There is no survival bonus in fearing the hand that leaves the dumpster unlocked. Foxes took this further. A city fox does not just lose its fear, it reads us. It learns which people carry food and which carry trouble, which doors open at night, exactly how close it can get before a human even looks up. While you learned nothing about the fox on your street, the fox built a working map of you and your habits. Comforting? But what would a predator look like if it had never met us at all? Some prove the whole theory by having none of this fear. On islands where humans never set foot, the rulebook is blank. The Komodo dragon, the largest predatory lizard alive, will walk straight toward a person instead of away, because nothing on its island ever taught it that the upright shape is a threat. Island snakes and big lizards that evolved without people show the same thing, curiosity where every mainland hunter would flee. In remote reefs that divers almost never reach, sharks come in to investigate instead of vanishing, while sharks near fishing boats bolt the moment an engine cuts. Same animal, opposite behavior, decided entirely by experience. The fear was never a factory setting. It is installed by encounters, and where the encounters never happened, the fear simply is not there. The predator that never learned to fear us is not stupid. It just never got the lesson the others paid for so dearly. So, what about the predators that actually do attack? Because they exist, and ignoring them would be a lie. Look closely, and the same conditions show up almost every time. The animal was cornered, no way out, or it was a mother standing between you and her young, or it was a bear that learned campsites mean easy food and stopped seeing people as a threat. So, what flips a careful animal into an attacker? Almost always desperation. It was sick, starving, injured, unable to hunt its normal prey, and running out of options. The lions of Tsavo, the ones that famously hunted railway workers in Kenya, were found to have ruined teeth that made normal hunting nearly impossible for them. Notice what is missing from that list. A healthy predator calmly deciding a person is food. That is the one case that almost never happens. When the conditions are normal, the answer is almost always the same. The animal leaves. There is a deeper, stranger truth sitting under all of this, and it is not entirely flattering. Here is the uncomfortable version. The animals are not paranoid. The fear is not a mistake. It is correct. We have wiped hundreds of species off the map and erased over half the wild places on Earth. A study a few years back found animals on 6 continents shifting to move at night, going dark to avoid us, not because their homes were gone, but simply because we were near. The deer is not overreacting. The squirrel frozen on the lawn is not being dramatic. They are running a survival program written across hundreds of thousands of years, and the program is right. The grim part is that the fear hides our own footprint from us. The animals vanish before we arrive, the woods go quiet, and we read that silence as peace instead of flight. But here is the question that actually matters. If the fear was learned, can it be unlearned? But the story does not end on fear, because fear that is learned can be unlearned. In the mountains of Rwanda and Uganda, gorilla families that once fled the moment a ranger appeared have, over years of patient, gentle, harmless contact, come to tolerate and even seem to enjoy human company. Nobody erased their instinct. They were just given enough evidence, day after day, that these humans would not hurt them until the math changed. Where hunting has stopped, animals step back into the daylight and let down a guard their grandparents could never afford. So the next time something bolts the instant it sees you, do not take it personally. That bear, that lion, that wolf is not judging the soft granola-eating creature in front of it. It is reading a warning carved into it across 10,000 generations. The upright thing is the most dangerous hunter this planet has made, and the only safe move is distance. You did not earn that fear today. You inherited it. The good news is that the same mind that made us the most frightening animal alive can choose to be something gentler. The fear is a mirror. It only shows what we have been. What it shows next is still up to us.